After a festive week of family gathering, plenteous meals, time spent with friends, baking, cooking and opening presents, the first day of the year has been spent on my own, enjoying the quiet and the silence, with my traditional morning walk at the park on the first day of 2024, reflecting on the past days. On New Year's Eve, I went with a friend at a New Year's concert given by the orchestra of the Opera House of my town, Saint-Étienne. I used to go a lot to the concert and to the opera before moving here when I was living in Lyon. And when I arrived here, and even more after the pandemic, I completely stopped going to this entertainment which I enjoyed so much. And this New Year's concert at the Opera House reminded me how much I enjoyed listening to live classical music. No digital technology will never compete with the immediate, powerful magic of classical music performed live by skilled musicians and wonderful singers, playing beautiful pieces. It was an absolute magical night. It was a perfect transition into the new year. Though I don't really take resolutions, I like to have goals and try to plant seeds at the beginning of the year and take or improve habits. And one of my goals this year is to complete my work on my Wildcat book project, which I started at the beginning of last year and left aside this past 6 months. Totally left it aside in a corner of the studio. And this year I plan to work on it every day, every single day when I'm at home and I'm not traveling or doing anything like that. I also wanted to show you a quite nice book about the 17th century, also as Wildcat is a fairy tale from the 17th century. And it has been offered to me for my birthday, which happens during the festive season. And it's a book about the cooking inspired by the 17th century and 17th century French writers, and it's a really beautiful book, both with recipes pretty advanced and definitely most of them too advanced for my baking and cooking skills, but with very interesting historical details. I'm just starting to read it. I've just recently received it, so I am at the beginning, but there are very interesting historical details, paintings, references, and of course some recipes too, inspired by the 17th century, and it is by Guy Savoy, who is a very famous French cook, who has a restaurant in Paris, which is said to be the best restaurant in the world, so I think he knows how to cook, and he has some desserts I'm going to try to do, just to have a bit of 17th century taste in my mouth, and some sablés, some biscuits inspired by La Marquise de Sablé, who created this typical French biscuit called sablé. And during the Christmas break, I went to the local brocante we have here in my town once a month, and I found quite great finds, including books, and I found this book from 1677. It is really my oldest possession now in my home. It is a very old book, and it's a sort of book which is there to guide young adults or teenagers in their religious path, we could say that. What was really interesting is that there are a lot of writings from previous owners who probably belong to a religious institution. I would imagine that there are boys and girls, and they have written things, did some mathematics, all sorts of things, musical things too. And the cherry on the cake for this book is I bought it for 15 euro, and I thought it was pretty amazing for a 1677 book. But I just checked online as a little game to see if it was really more. And when I checked online on all the main booksellers platform in France and also abroad, it was available, this exact edition from 1777, between 300 and 1300 euros. You can really find great treasures in brocante, because usually the brocanteurs who also sell furniture and different sort of things, they are not always expert in books, and if they have a little selection of old books, they wouldn't really know the value of them, or really quickly they wouldn't do the research to know how much they are worth. That's really so special to have a book which has seen so many generations and so many things. This book was there when Louis XIV was reigning in France, was on the throne. So I find that totally fascinating. So I didn't read it yet. It's a very short book. I'm going to read it. It's The Island of Virtue. So I know it's going to be very moral and all that. But yes, just wanted to show you this one. So one of my goals this year is to make more time and space for my book project, which include White Cat, which has been left on the side for 6 months, and work on it every day when I'm at home, even if it's only for 30 minutes. To make more space for this project, I needed a second desk, as I used to have in my previous apartment, which back then was not only really a desk, but a simple piece of wood. And I found this one, this beautiful wood desk, in a second-hand website, just in my town. So the desk was sold by a seller in my town. It is a robust desk, quite old, but not too wide, which is perfect for this corner of the room. By the way, I apologize for the light, but these days we have very, very cloudy and dark skies, so it's a bit tricky to film. He has 2 large drawers, very deep, which are going to be very convenient and very useful. The idea here was to be able to leave everything what I'm working on the desk and working on my other things on the other desk, so that I can have everything there ready to go back to when I have the time to go back to it. Not to have to put everything on the side of the room or in a corner and put it back as I used to do last year, and it was not working. I always lost a lot of time, didn't know what I was working on, and it just didn't work. And of course, this little print of Madame Delnoy had to survey what is happening on the desk and the progress of my project. A new studio companion has arrived in the studio, also a little motivated by my magical New Year night at the Opera House. And this little pink radio and CD player is going to at last allow me to go back to my collection of classical CDs, which I loved so much and I quite forgotten these past years, as my old player has broken quite many years ago, and I don't like the digital streaming service, alternatives online, all that. It is not for me. I don't like these subscriptions and all this, which change the rules all the time. I like the rituals of choosing and picking a CD, opening the box, putting it into the player. You don't have all this choreography with digital music. You only press a button and that's it. And I really missed all these rituals which I had when I was a child, a teenager, with my tapes and then the CDs and also with the radio. is the season of the Galette des Rois in France in January, so I decided this year to try to make one with some pâte feuilletée, puff pastry that I buy in the supermarket. I totally cheat for that. But I did a frangipane, which is an almond cream you put inside the pastry. And what I discovered reading the 17th century book I showed you a little earlier in this video is that the puff pastry, la pâte feuilletée, was invented and discovered by Claude Jolet, called Le Lorrain, who was a very famous French painter from the 17th century, which is very famous for his landscapes, and you probably have seen some of his landscapes, which are always very beautiful with golden colors and quite beautiful. And he was a cook before being a painter, and he has discovered the puff pastry, la pâte feuilletée. Once again, I wanted to wish you a beautiful and happy new year. Today, when I'm filming this, it's the 6th of January, the Epiphany, and I'm eating my Galette des Rois. I'm sure you can find some recipes online if you want to try your own, if you don't have them available in your country. Here they are available everywhere in all the bakeries, but it's the first time I do it. It's pretty easy if you, of course, buy the supermarket doughs, but I love the Galette des Rois. We eat them during the entire month of January in France, and I adore those things, so I'm excited to eat mine. I wanted also to thank you for all your support, kind messages throughout the past year on my videos, my work, and all the things I'm doing. They are very precious and mean a lot to me. They motivate me, comfort me, and just helps me keep me going. I really appreciate these conversations we have under this video, which give me a chance to interact with you a little bit. And I hope you will like what's coming this year. I'm going to have a little later in January a video totally about the progress on White Cat, which is one of my priorities for this year. So you will know more about the audiobook project I mentioned last year, the book and the decors and all the things I'm doing for this project I had started last year but didn't do it. So this is not the end of it. I want to go back to it more than ever and hopefully finish it this time before the end of 2024. You will also see more about the work I'm doing for the exhibition, which I'm doing with le Centre des Monuments Nationaux, but I will also have another video all about that. For now, I'm going to finish the carousel from the Christmas and Winter workshop. So if you are interested in doing a carousel, it's part of the new Christmas workshop, of course, which was this year divided in a part delivered in December and another part in January. And the videos are going to arrive in the workshop next week. So you have the possibility to join it till January 15, and then it's going to close its doors for good till next Christmas season. And you will see it in upcoming videos. You have all the details and information in the link just under this video. I hope you will have a beautiful and happy New Year 2024. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss all the nice videos coming. And for now, I'm going to eat my galette.